The sun was shining brightly on the day of the incident, casting a warm glow over the gathering crowd. Families and friends had come together for a community event celebrating local heroes, including veterans, those who had served their country with honor. Among them was a veteran, proudly wearing his military cap, standing beside his wife. They were enjoying the festivities when an unexpected confrontation with security turned their day into chaos. The atmosphere shifted quickly as a misunderstanding arose and voices grew louder. Security personnel approached the couple, appearing tense and ready to act. In a shocking turn of events, they tossed the veteran's wife right in front of him. Gasps erupted from the onlookers as the scene unfolded. The veteran, filled with disbelief and horror, felt helpless as he watched his wife fall to the ground. This distressing moment marked the beginning of a series of events that would attract attention and ultimately lead to an unexpected intervention just minutes later. The veteran, James, had served his country proudly for over a decade, enlisting right after high school. He had seen action in several conflicts, each leaving its mark on him, both physically and emotionally. Returning home, he struggled to adjust to civilian life, often haunted by memories of the battlefield. His wife, Sarah, stood by him through it all, providing unwavering support and love. Despite his challenges, James found solace in connecting with fellow veterans at community gatherings like the one they attended that day. Wearing his military cap was not just a symbol of pride, but also a reminder of the bonds he shared with comrades who had fought alongside him. He cherished the moments spent celebrating their service and sacrifices. However, the incident that unfolded on this sunny day would shatter that sense of pride. As he watched Sarah being tossed, all the struggles he had faced seemed to converge into one overwhelming emotion: helplessness. It was a moment he never anticipated while trying to enjoy a day meant to honor them both. The community event took place in a large, grassy park, adorned with colorful banners and balloons that fluttered in the gentle breeze. Families filled the area, setting up picnic blankets and enjoying the sound of laughter as children played nearby. Food vendors lined one side of the park, offering everything from hot dogs to cotton candy, while a stage hosted live performances to honor local heroes. As James and Sarah mingled with fellow veterans, the atmosphere buzzed with camaraderie and pride. Friends exchanged stories of service, while others shared heartfelt tributes to those who had sacrificed so much. The sun shone brightly, casting warmth over the joyful gathering, amplifying the sense of community and appreciation. However, this vibrant setting soon transformed into chaos. As tensions flared with security approaching the couple, the cheerful sounds of celebration faded into shocked gasps from onlookers. In an instant, the park, once filled with joy and togetherness, became a scene of confusion and distress as James witnessed his wife's shocking ordeal unfold before him. As James and Sarah mingled with friends, security personnel approached them with serious expressions. Initially, it seemed like a routine check, but the tension in the air quickly escalated. The lead security officer, a tall man with an imposing stance, raised his voice, claiming that they had received reports of disruptive behavior, though James and Sarah had been enjoying the event without any issues. Confused and frustrated, Sarah attempted to explain their situation, but her words fell on deaf ears. The officer interrupted her sharply, insisting that they needed to comply immediately. James felt his heart race as he witnessed Sarah's frustration turn into fear. She was trying to stand her ground while respecting the authority of the officers. In a shocking twist, before James could fully process what was happening, the officer pulled out a taser. The crowd gasped as Sarah was tossed right in front of him. It was a moment filled with disbelief and horror, marking a dramatic shift from celebration to chaos that no one could have anticipated. The moment the taser was deployed, time seemed to slow for James. Sarah's body jolted violently as electricity surged through her, and she fell to the ground, gasping in shock. The crowd erupted into chaos. Shocked gasps filled the air as people rushed forward, uncertain of what to do. Some instinctively reached out to help, while others stood frozen in disbelief, unable to comprehend the brutal reality of what they had just witnessed. James felt his heart drop as he rushed towards Sarah, desperate to reach her side. All around him, voices called out for someone to intervene. Some demanded that security stop the madness. Jeers and shouts filled the park as more people stepped forward, outraged by the officers' actions. The sunny day had turned dark as anger and fear spread like wildfire among the crowd. Feeling a mix of anger and desperation, James knelt beside Sarah and whispered comforting words, even though he felt powerless against the situation. It was a harrowing moment that would deeply resonate within him long after the event concluded. The crowd's reaction was immediate and intense. People who had been laughing just moments before were now shouting, their faces twisted in disbelief and outrage. Some rushed to help James as he knelt by Sarah, while others confronted the security personnel, demanding to know why they had resorted to such violence. Voices filled the air. Some called for calm, while others yelled that they should not allow such abuse of power. A few attendees, armed with cell phones, began recording the incident, eager to document what felt like a failure of justice right before their eyes. The tension in the park escalated as more spectators joined in, forming a small crowd that surrounded the officers. Among those watching closely was a local business owner who had served in the military himself. He stepped forward to advocate for James and Sarah, sharing his own experience with authority figures and emphasizing the importance of treating veterans with respect. The mood shifted from shock to collective anger, igniting a desire for accountability that would resonate long after the event ended. James's heart raced as he knelt beside Sarah, a maelstrom of emotions swirling within him. The shock of seeing his wife tossed transformed into a fierce anger that coursed through his veins. He felt a deep frustration not only for what had happened to Sarah, but also for the lack of respect shown to both her and himself as a veteran. Memories of his service flickered through his mind. Moments of camaraderie, sacrifice, and the duty to protect those he loved. With the crowd around him getting louder, James's protective instincts surged. He clenched his fists, battling against the helplessness that threatened to overwhelm him. As people advocated for them, he realized they were fighting not just for Sarah, but for all veterans who felt marginalized in society. Fueled by this sense of solidarity, he stood up, determined to assert their dignity amid the chaos. "Leave her alone. She did nothing wrong," he shouted, directing his voice at the security personnel. This proclamation resonated with onlookers, reminding them of the values they celebrated just moments before, a community standing together against injustice. Just as the crowd's anger reached a boiling point, the sound of authoritative footsteps echoed through the park. A general, dressed in crisp military attire adorned with medals, arrived on the scene and immediately assessed the chaotic situation. His presence commanded respect, and people instinctively quieted down as he approached James and Sarah. With a calm yet firm demeanor, the general addressed the crowd, acknowledging their outrage while assuring them that he would get to the bottom of the incident. He turned to the security personnel, who appeared startled by this sudden intervention. "What happened here?" he asked, his voice steady but filled with authority. James felt a flicker of hope as he watched the general engage directly with those responsible for Sarah's tossing. The general's demeanor was both commanding and compassionate, reflecting a deep understanding of military values and respect for veterans. As he began to gather information from witnesses and assess Sarah's condition, it became clear that this intervention was exactly what was needed to restore order and address the injustice that had unfolded moments before. As the general continued to speak with witnesses and assess Sarah's condition, medical personnel arrived, quickly tending to her. The crowd, though still simmering with anger, began to disperse as the reality of the situation settled in. Many attendees voiced their support for James and Sarah, sharing their shock and disbelief over the earlier events. James remained close to Sarah, who was now conscious but shaken. He held her hand tightly, feeling a mix of relief and lingering frustration. The general comforted both of them, assuring them that a full investigation would take place and that such behavior from security would not be tolerated. People began approaching James to express their solidarity and share similar stories of injustice they had witnessed or experienced themselves. This moment became a catalyst for change, igniting discussions about how veterans should be treated with respect and dignity, not just during celebrations, but in every aspect of life. The day ended with a collective call for accountability, leaving behind an indelible mark on the community and strengthening their bonds for the future. In the days following the incident, a wave of reflection swept through the community about the treatment of veterans. Many recalled the sacrifices made by those who served and began to recognize that respect for their service shouldn't wane after they return home. This tragic event raised questions about how veterans like James were perceived, not only during ceremonies but in everyday life. Community leaders organized meetings to discuss veteran support programs, emphasizing the importance of understanding and empathy towards their struggles. People began sharing stories of their own families who had served, creating a united front advocating for better treatment in public spaces. James found comfort in these discussions, realizing he was not alone in his feelings of frustration and helplessness. The incident became a rallying point for change, inspiring the community to consider how they could create environments where veterans felt safe and valued. Renewed commitments from local officials promised resources and initiatives to support veterans, ensuring that their sacrifices would not be forgotten or disrespected. The incident involving James and Sarah served as a powerful reminder of the challenges many veterans face even after their service. It highlighted a critical need for communities to not only celebrate their sacrifices, but also to actively protect and respect them in everyday life. As discussions around veteran treatment gained momentum, it became clear that change was necessary. Community leaders, citizens, and veterans united in a call for action, emphasizing the importance of training for security personnel on how to handle situations involving veterans with care and understanding. Initiatives were proposed to create safe spaces where veterans could share their stories and experiences without fear of disrespect or misunderstanding. This tragic event sparked a movement for accountability and compassion, pushing the community to commit to lasting changes that would honor the sacrifices made by those who served. By standing together, they vowed to ensure that no veteran would ever feel marginalized again, making a promise to uphold dignity and respect for all who have served in uniform. The journey towards change had begun, driven by hope and unity.